Yes, hello everybody. Blake Ogle here, Software Techniques, Breeze 360, Time and Attendance Tracking Software Solutions. Today we're looking at Software Techniques' newest solution called Breeze 360 Pro. Software Techniques is a 36-year-old company with many years of experience. This is our most modern solution, Breeze 360 Pro. Something to mention is there's also a Breeze 360 Lite edition, which is all about PTO tracking, paid time off, leave requests, conflict checking. Breeze 360 Pro encompasses all of it, the PTO as well as employee time worked, in an easy-to-use interface with maximum efficiency in terms of reporting, exporting to payroll, supervisor adjustments, supervisor roles. So let's look at Breeze 360 Pro. Tracks all your ins and outs, projects and jobs if applicable. Some people just do simple ins and outs. Other people would like to track what people are doing while they're at work, what their employees are doing while they're at work, and that's fine too. There's multiple methods of entry to Breeze 360 Pro. So let's take a peek at that real quick. This is the main interface, but how do employees input their time worked? One way is through a PC kiosk or PC punch station. If I'm an exclusive to my own PC, then it just resides in my system tray. There's available options such as projects and notes. These are optional. Ultimately, as an employee, I just punch in. This can also be used as a kiosk, where an employee basically picks their name off a list, enters in a PIN number, and punches in. So there's multiple ways to use the PC app. Another method would be with the iPad check-in station. iPad punch station's easy to use, kiosk-oriented. You can either pick your name off a list, punch in, or use RFID, which is radio frequency identification, natively supported by iPad. Another method, devices. The U-Face is a very popular device. Punch in, punch out, either through facial recognition or through fingerprint biometrics or through RFID or through PIN number. It's a very multifaceted device, very dynamic, one touch, 1 second user recognition, so it's very fast. It's Ethernet oriented and also natively supports Wi-Fi. Works in real time. That's just one popular method in terms of devices. Most popular is the iPhone app or the Android app for Samsung. It's a phone app. It's free to download. Supervisors like it because it encompasses a live and out board. So at any time you can pull it out of your pocket and see who's doing what, where they are, whether they're in, whether they're out. And for employees, it's very easy. Big green button, big red button. If you want to allow notes, you can. If you want to allow projects, you can. This is all GPS tracked down to a 50-foot radius. We also allow GPS fencing, so employees can only punch in and out through designated locations. They can't be down at the coffee shop, can't be at the local pub. They have to be where you designate they are. And we also offer auto punch by GPS. We can actually automatically and silently punch an employee in when they walk in the building or when they pull in the parking lot. Another option is to punch them out when they leave. The phone apps also encompass the full PTO tracking, so employees can see how many vacation days they've earned so far and how many they've taken and how many they have left. And if they're thinking about taking time off, it's a very full-featured leave request system. Employees can create a request, submit it. It can go to one or more supervisors. We can determine how you'd like that handled. It's all email automated submission and approval with notifications. So you can ultimately approve or deny employees' requests straight from your phone. The Breeze 360 interface is easy to use. I have my list of employees on the left. This list may vary according to your supervisor role. Please note that supervisor roles are very dynamic. There can be hundreds of conversations about what supervisors can see and do when they log into the software. But in essence, I can see all the employees that I'm supervising, time in, time out, punch locations. Just for an example, I can see projects and jobs. Certain areas may be fenced to where I can only punch in and out through designated locations. Auto punch capabilities can be implemented. But in essence, you've got employee roster with headings across the top. The employee's work week, their year at a glance, spots trends. Certain employees might have issues with coming in late every Monday morning or leaving early every Friday. This is easy to spot on the year at a glance screen. You can also view the employee's balances and allowances in terms of leave, vacation, personal, sick time. And these are completely customizable, so they're pretty much yours. You can have any type category you wish. You can set accruals and allowances and balances and carryover calculations and choose which categories are available through the leave request system for the employee. You got the employee information tab. Most of this information is what you would enter in when you hire a new employee. Their first name, their last name, their birth date, their hire date, badge numbers, payroll numbers, their level of security. Much of this information can also be uploaded from a spreadsheet to help get you started. Rounding rules, overtime calculations, pretty much what the employees can do and see, how they can input their time. And then you've got the employee calendar, which is a wonderful tool. It's very dynamic to mark off illness days, vacation days, PTO. There's actually two ways to do this. You can either manually mark it for the employee or use the employee leave request system, where the employee would submit a leave request through their phone, for example, and you can approve or deny that. It's all with notifications. You can do full days, half days, partial days. This tracks COVID leave. Many people nowadays are using it to track vaccinations. It's up to you what you want to track on the employee's calendar, but everything you mark on here is safe forever in history. It's all audit worthy. It may affect their balances and allowances in terms of PTO. You can make notes, make adjustments. It's a very dynamic tool. And this is on the employee tab. And that's how the employee tab works. Now, most of your navigation is on the left here. For example, I'm on the employee tab. I can also go to the admin tab. The admin tab is mainly your configurations and settings. A lot of this is set it and forget it type menu options here, but interestingly enough, with the admin tab, you also receive a dashboard, which is an at a glance of what's going on right this very minute. You can see who's out this week. You can see who's out this month. You can see who's out next month just with a couple clicks. It shows your department attendance, leave requests requiring action. This is sort of a to-do list. You know, I need to attend to these. These are pending requests from my employees that I need to click on and either approve or deny, which we can look at here in a second. It's very easy to manipulate and yet, you know, full of information, basically enough information to make an informed decision. We've got accrual policies here. No accrual rule we can't handle. We can do, you know, anniversary, calendar, fiscal, balance caps, accrual caps, carryover calculations, carryover maximums, carryover expiration dates, and you determine which categories employees are allowed to earn time off for. There can be multiple policies for different employee types. Very, very, very powerful here. The audit history, every change ever made in the software is completely recorded. Who made the change, who it affected. It's down to the second. It's keyword searchable, savable, printable. Your department settings, who's in what department, who their supervisors are. This can affect things like leave requests. This can affect things like timesheet submissions or timesheet approvals. And we help you. We'll help you set it up. We have APIs to QuickBooks. We do exports to ADP, Peachtree, Paychex, Paycor, any major payroll. We can definitely send data to. Holiday schedules. Do you get, how many days do you get off for Christmas, 1st of the year, 4th of July, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday? You can allow the employees to see this through, for example, their phone app. So if they want to know, what their holiday schedule looks like, they can see it. Transparency. The employees love it. Supervisors like it. Locations. There's a couple ways to do locations. This would be including GPS fencing mainly. Do you want to fence off areas, certain geographical areas that the employees are allowed to punch in and out? If they're outside of that area, they can't punch. And do know, when people ask their employees, would you rather punch in and out through a clock on the wall, or would you rather use your phone? They all want to use their phone. 99%. We'd rather just do it this way. It's easier, it's convenient, and yet it's accurate. It's all tracked. This is future punching, and there's a couple ways to do it. You can either pre-configure of the areas that the employees are allowed to punch into, and you can delegate which employees can punch in and out through what area. And you can also use a submission and approval process. So if somebody submits a punch from an area that isn't in their designated fencing or management area, they can submit it as an approval, and if the manager wants to approve it, it actually becomes a manageable area that employee is allowed to punch in and out from. And if you decide other employees would be allowed, it's easy to do. It's all GPS tracked, so pretty interesting, very modern, and you can take it as far as you want to go. I mean, every punch is tracked. If you want to fence off areas, you can. You don't have to. If you want to do auto punching through areas, very popular, growing in popularity, I'll say, you can do that as well. You don't have to, or you can grow into it. But do know that the Breeze 360 software pretty much offers it all. And so, different companies use it differently. Really just depends on the company. It takes a whole lot of companies to make a world. How do you want it to suit your environment? We're here to help, and we can do it. So punch policies, point and occurrences. We can do point and occurrences. Punch policies. Basically, how can the employees input their time? And how does the software then treat that time once it's been entered? That's the nature of punch policies. And you may have different policies for different groups of people. You might have one group that does it one way, another group does it another way. That's fine. They might have different rules. That's fine. We just kind of build them out, and we'll help you. It's all part of just the setup mainly. And so punch policies, release notes. The software is always up to date. We do add things to it frequently based on customer requests. Anytime we add something, you get it automatically, free of charge, part of the service. And oftentimes you'll get a little pop-up release note saying, hey, here's something new. And there'll be screenshots and video tutorials. So this software is maintenance-free, software as a service, a hosted solution, and it's always up to date. It's just an annual subscription. Super admin options, we're just kind of under the admin tab here, if you recall. Everything's on the left, and it basically just works from left to right. Very easy, very modern. And super admin options, these are things like your company name, your company logo, how you want leave requests to be handled, particularly in terms of a multi-supervisor approval system. How do you want to allow employees to be able to cancel leave requests? And if so, how would you like that handled? I mean, do you want it to be an approval, submission and approval process? Do you want them to be able to cancel leave in the past or in the future? Very, very detailed actually. It's actually quite nice. It can be fully tailored to your environment. You can set restrictions. You can set conflict limits. I don't want any more than so many employees off on any given day in this department. And I don't want any more than, this many off in this department on any given day. And what will happen is, if that certain number of employees requests, you can have the software do things like auto deny. And do you want to send notifications to other supervisors when you've approved one of their employees' days off? Do you want to allow employees to request time off in the past? So, super admin options, there's a lot of global configurations and settings here that you can create to help, tailor it to your company's environment. Supervisor roles, we're almost to the bottom here of admin tab. Very important. You can offer levels of access to supervisors just over their department. You can give a supervisor a full access over one department, but a limited level over another department. Or maybe a read-only over another department where they can see who's in, who's out, maybe run reports, but they can't change anything. You basically create roles, and there can be hundreds of combinations here. And when you create a supervisor in the software Breeze 360 basically asks you, okay, who are they supervising and what role, what level? And you can mix and match. You can give them one level over one department, a different level over a different department. It's all tied to their single login. So when it's one username and password, when they log in, this is what they can see and do. And do know, interestingly, it's not just tied to their department. You can drill in and say, I want to give this person this level of access over 8 of the 10 people within this department. So it's literally, more dynamic than just tying it to a department, which is really most common in the industry. We're able to drill it down. User-defined categories, again, customizations to suit your environment. These are yours. You can get creative. You can have as many or as few as you want. And these are typically events or absences. PTO, vacation, illnesses. COVID has been very common theme tracked in this, even down to vaccinations and whether people are fully vaccinated or partially vaccinated or boosted even. I mean, you can literally track anything. And you create it and you give it parameters. Okay, is this something that you want the employee to be able to request off? Is this something that counts as overtime? Does it count towards their accruals? So quite a few customizations that can be made here to make things easier for you and your company. And again, we'll help you. So these are mainly settings, and a lot of these, again, set it and forget it. And when we go through this, you're done. Go through this, you're done, unless something major changes. And that's all under the Admin tab. We looked at the Employee tab. These are your records. These are your calendar, your time worked. The Personal tab is pretty much everything that pertains to you. It's the person who's logged in. So this would be, under the Personal tab, this would be my calendar, my allowances and balances. I can go to my work week. There's no limit to the amount of history here. Interestingly, I can go back weeks, months, years. I can go all the way back to my hire date if I want to. So there's no limit to the amount of history. This also maintains unlimited terminated employee records. So even if they retire or leave the company for whatever reason, just enter in a termination date. Software recognizes that and opens up a slot for a new hire. So it is turnover friendly. And if you want, you can allow your employees to log in to the main interface. I mean, this is basically the Breeze 360 interface. When an employee logs in with employee level access, they basically just see this. They see their personal information, and they don't see other people by default, and they can't change anything. It's all read only. They can also see this on an app, so do bear that in mind. They can log in on a laptop or from their PC and see their own information, their work week, their holiday schedules, things like that. It would be just their personal information. And it's all read-only unless you've got it configured to where they can fill out a timesheet, and then in that case they can come in and fill out a timesheet. Most employees do tend to just do it through the app, but you can do it either way. I mean, if you don't want to do the apps or the phones, you can certainly just do it on the software PC interface. And it's very easy to use. If they're thinking about taking time off, they can come in here and they can create a leave request, and they can submit it for approval, that sort of thing, and they can punch in and out even through the web page. It's easy. Big green button, big red button up here at the top. So if they're tethered to the web and not necessarily through an app, it's fully capable of that, and it's easy. We don't expect employees to be rocket scientists or computer gurus. It basically boils down to big green button, big red button, unless you're using a biometric or facial recognition unit, in which they just basically, it's super easy. They just look at the device and it punches them in typically within a second. For supervisors, where is all this punch data going? It goes into the Breeze 360 interface, and there's a ton of reporting options that are built in, and bear in mind this is 36 years of experience from Software Techniques. So these report parameter screens are very dynamic. The reports themselves, very informative. I'm just going to give you a glance here real quick of just some of the reports that are listed, built in, ready to go. And there's quite a few, and they're very dynamic. These reports can be sent to, just with a single click, either a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet or a Microsoft Word document. So you just kind of choose the parameters. I can go by department, I can go by employee. Every report I can do pretty much the same. If I want to choose a whole department or choose just people within a department, that's fine. Company name in the report, signature lines. Do I want to show notes? Choose my date ranges. Bear in mind, you guys, this is sort of a box of chocolates for me. Matter of fact, sometimes it's hard to know what I'm going to get when I run this report. It's a sample database, but you get the idea, and you kind of create it here, and then just send it. And there you go. And this is the employee details report. This is just one out of actually 55 built-in reports. And there's also a built-in report writer where you can build your own report from the ground up if you want to. Save the template, use it over and over again. So it'll query every table in the database. But usually, I would say out of 55 different reports, folks do find, honestly, probably 4 or 5 reports that they just love. And those are the ones they run all the time, but that varies per company. We're pretty good at building them all in here. We can also do full featured exports, ADP, Peachtree, Paycheck. There's no major payroll we can't send to. QuickBooks we have direct APIs to, and that list is growing. And so project reports, if you're tracking projects and jobs, fine. We can break it down and say how many hours were spent on this particular project by this group of people during this time frame, and it gives you that report with just a couple clicks. So it's very fast, very modern. 55 different reports, built-in report writer, exports, APIs coming and growing. And so this is basically, though, the interface of, once these punches are entered by the employee, this is kind of where they all end up. And it's 100% web-based. So it doesn't require any ITIS maintenance. We maintain the whole thing for you. All you need is a login ID. And this is the nature of Breeze 360 time and attendance. It's got an add a glance in out board here. Red dot means they're out. Green dot means they're in. There's an add a glance in out board on your phone. There's an add a glance in out board on the punch station that you can just load on your PC. Let it reside in your system tray. You can punch on it at any time. Just click on it. You can see who's in, who's out, where they are, what they're doing, if applicable. Again, very customizable. Okay, do you want to allow your employees to type in notes? Do you want to track projects? That's fine. Or not, and that's fine too. I'm here today, but over in Bob's office. Or not available by phone, or whatever. And this shows up so people can see it. And this can be determined by department. And you can make this static. So employees can only see their department and nobody else if you want to. So it's quite dynamic. And again, my name is Blake with Software Techniques. And this is just a sort of a general overview. I don't want to take all your time up here today. There's certainly other things to explore. But the bare bones of it is we can pretty much handle any environment, however they want to punch. Complete modern GPS tracking, fencing, and even auto punching if you want to take that in consideration, worth considering. We do their full PTO tracking, overtime calculations, rounding rules, leave requests with submission and approval, email notifications, apps, holiday schedules. And so if you have questions or want more information, give me a call. I'm here for you. My name is Blake, last name Ogle. Blake at softwaretech.com. 540-566-3260. We're Breeze 360 Pro, Software Techniques Incorporated, 36-year-old company, over 50,000 users, and we're glad to help. Look forward to hearing from you.